अंतरसेना सम्मान कार्ड राष्ट्रीय सलूट समाप्त चस अंतरसेना सम्मान कार्ड बाजू चस श्रीमान अंतरसेना सम्मान कार्ड आपके निरीक्षण के लिए हाजिर है।
Led by Lieutenant Colonel Ashish Thakur of the 5th Battalion of the 1st Gorkha Rifles, taking the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump, for his inspection. We have 6 officers and 150 other ranks in this Guard of Honor that draws its men from the 3 services. The Army, led by Captain Abhay Sheraz Sandhu, the Navy, led by Lieutenant Commander A.K. Mohanty, and the Air Force, led by Squadron Leader D.K.S. Chauhan. Mr. Trump is the 7th US President to visit India and has had a really busy schedule since yesterday when he landed in Ahmedabad, moved to Agra in the evening, and now in Delhi, which is a day-long program that is really packed to the hilt. After the inspection of the Guard of Honor, Mr. Trump and Mr. Kovind shaking hands, as he will now introduce Mr. Trump to the Indian delegates who are assembled here. And we begin with the military secretary, actually with the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, Mr. Rajnath Singh, the Defence Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, the Foreign Minister, Mr. Harshvardhan, the Minister for Health and Family Welfare, General V.K. Singh, former Army Chief and now Member of Parliament in the Lok Sabha, the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, Mr. Anil Baijal, Mr. Rajiv Gauba, the Cabinet Secretary,
Admiral Karambir Singh, Chief of Naval Staff, Air Chief Marshal Rakesh Kumar Singh Bhadoria, President Trump shaking hands with General M.M. Naravane, Army Chief, Secretary to the President Sanjay Kothari, also Harshvardhan Shringla, Foreign Secretary, Dr. Bala Prasad, Special Secretary to President, Randhir Kumar Jaiswal, Joint Secretary, Rudra Gaurav Shresht, OSD, Prime Minister Office, shaking hands with Joint Secretary Ajay Bahadur, Press Secretary Ajay Kumar Singh.
And the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Ambassador of the Dominican Republic, Hans Dannenberg Castellanos. Now President Trump introducing the US delegation to our President. You've got the US Ambassador in India, the US Secretary of Commerce, the Secretary of Energy, the National Security Advisor, Senior Advisor Ivana Trump, and her husband, who's also a Senior Advisor, Jared Kushner, the White House Principal Deputy Chief of Staff, Emma Doyle, Stephen Miller, the Advisor to the President, the White House Director of Social Media and Assistant to the President, Dan Scavino, Lindsay Renault, the Chief of Staff to the First Lady, Rob Blair, and Stephanie Grisham, the White House Press Secretary. President Kovind and Mrs. Kovind with Mr. Trump and Melania Trump as they move back to their positions. And as I mentioned to you earlier, he has a packed day after the reception, this official reception at Rashtrapati Bhavan. Mr. Trump will move to Rajghat, where he will pay his respects to Mahatma Gandhi.
और कल भी जैसे कि साबरमती आश्रम में हमने देखा, माननीय राष्ट्रपति डोनाल्ड ट्रंप ने गांधी जी की महानता को सराहा. And now President Donald Trump along with President of India Shri Ramnath Kovind ji, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, for a group photograph which is going to be a memory indeed.
Smiling faces on the second day of his visit to India. President Kovind and President Trump exchanging a few words as this moment is captured for posterity. He has a lot of official meetings today, delegation level talks, an exchange of agreements perhaps. And then there is a lunch hosted by the Prime Minister, after which he will have meetings with the Vice President and the External Affairs Minister, and he will also visit the US Embassy in India. In the evening there is a dinner hosted by the Indian President at Rashtrapati Bhavan, which will be an official banquet in honor of the visiting President of the United States of America. And of course he leaves later in the night back to the United States. A really quick trip for the Trumps. We hope that they have enjoyed their sojourn, their maiden trip to India. The Cadillac making its way out now from the forecourt after the official reception hosted by the President of India to the visiting President of the United States of America.
From the forecourt of imposing Rashtrapati Bhavan, beautiful scenes of President Donald Trump and President of India and Prime Minister bidding adieu.
Mayank, Doordarshan has really been covering all the events related with his visit beautifully with its magnificent camera coverage. As we see the Prime Minister bidding goodbye to the President and Mrs. Kovind. The ceremony really coming to a close, but it's actually a beginning of an entire day of events that the Trumps and the Indian administration will be co-hosting in a way.
Absolutely. And the vision of Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat and Sarva Shresth Bharat. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi says Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas and Sabka Vishwas, it is that trust, it is that confidence which brings America and India together.
His maiden visit to India, a reflection of the growing global strategic partnership between the two democracies, and an expression of the deep friendship that he has on a personal level with Mr. Narendra Modi. He talked about it at all his events. He mentioned that the US will be a loyal friend of India, and the kind of reception that he received and his family received will ensure that there is a special place in the Trump family's heart for India. The Prime Minister's car taking its way out of the forecourt. Namaste Trump, Namaste India, going to be those lasting words and lasting images as the 45th President of the United States starts his official part of the journey in the capital of Delhi.
And with this, we ask leave from our viewers. Thanks for watching. Namaskar. Jai Hind. Jai Bharat.